it's hard to know what my life would have been if that hasn't happened. It's hard to see what kind of person I would have become, but I think understanding that that's not the way to go, understanding that. So basically what happened is like halfway, like she poisoned herself, and halfway through she didn't want to anymore. So she told the EMTs she didn't want to die. And that was a lesson to me. It's like, you can be at your lowest and you can take action, but you're going to regret it, because you're at your lowest, and there's so many better things to come. And that to me was really what, like, it was like, I get it. If I'm not feeling good, it's okay. Like, I'll feel better tomorrow. It'll all be better. So I think that changed my outlook for sure in the way that I act every day.
Was there ever a time that you felt that? You felt like just giving up and kind of you wasn't getting...
Thousands of times.
No, it's good to hear, right? Dude. Because, I'm the same. It's like, oh man, I just...
Yeah, of course. Yeah, so many times. There was one time I made a huge switch on my channel, right? The channel that I have today, if you go back far enough, I have videos in Portuguese. And I switched from Portuguese to English. And man, my viewers hated it. Like they were like, you traitor, can't believe you're doing videos in English. But to me, it's like, I just wasn't gonna grow. I had to make a choice. And I made the hard, difficult choice of losing a bunch of subscribers and getting a ton of hate, but looking at a brighter future, long ahead. It took like a good year and a half for me to start gaining subscribers again, because I was actually losing subscribers. So every day I posted a video, I would lose 300 subscribers. And that was just like tearing my heart apart, like to spend 6-7 hours editing a video, and then I post it, and then I just get ripped apart. And that played with my head a lot. But I kept going, but I really wanted to quit a bunch of times.
So, Alex, welcome to Behind the Reel. How are you doing, buddy?
How's it going, man? Good to see you again.
Yeah, and you. I messaged you, what was it, a couple of weeks ago, and I thought to myself, during this lockdown period, let's do this interview whilst we're both stuck at home. So what time is it for you out in LA?
It is noon.
So now it's coming up to 8 p.m. for me here in London, and we're hoping that the Wi-Fi connection will be good.
There's still some light outside there.
Tiny bit. I'm trying to... We've got a little bit of light, although it's raining.
And also this time... It's expected.
Exactly. So this time it's actually surprising that it's still pretty light, but we'll see how it goes. I'm sure it's just going to go really dark very quickly, very soon.
Yeah, in LA, it's getting dark around 7:30, so pretty kind of the same as over there. I think at 8 o'clock it's pitch black though.
Yeah, of course. But no, cool. I appreciate you coming on. And I remember when we met in London, what was that? Probably, I'd say maybe a year and a half ago.
Yeah.
You actually came up with the concept for this, and since then I've done a couple of interviews with obviously, Aaron Marino, Antonio, Eric from Beer Brand, and I've wanted to kind of get you on here and kind of just kick it and see where you're kind of at with your journey and try and talk everyone through that. So let's kind of kick it back and sort of see, obviously with the success that you're having now, what was a kind of real changing point for you? If you can kind of walk us through where you started, and what kind of got you into YouTube in the first place.
Yeah. So my story is really actually pretty long. I'll try to keep it short. I started YouTube like 2010, I think. So it's been 10 years. It's coming up on 10 years. It was actually April 2010, so it's exactly 10 years ago. And I've been doing videos ever since. I never stopped. And there's always like people who post that one video and then they blow up and they get lucky. I never had that. To me, it was like a slow burning candle. You know what I mean? It was just slowly getting bigger and bigger and bigger. Never really had a video like pop, but I just kept going. And I think that's how I got instilled this like hard work mentality of like, I just gotta keep going, just gotta keep doing this, just gotta keep being consistent. There wasn't really a turning point for me. It was more just like, all right, I can see where this is going. There's a trend here. It's going up. It's slow, but it's going up. So I just kept going and going and going. I think obviously switching my content from like gaming and vlogging to this was a big, was a big move for me. And then also when I quit Google to do this full time was also a big move for me. So those were the two things that really changed it all for me. But I never really had like that one crazy like, oh, okay, I made it. It was just slowly getting bigger and bigger and bigger for years.
And has that always been an attitude that you've had with previous, projects or previous things that you've done? Have you always had that kind of hard work mentality?
Oh yeah, man. I don't know how. I think I went to military school when I was really young in Brazil, and it was so tough to get into that school, and I studied a lot to get in it. So from a very early age, I used to study a lot. I used to just like want to be the best. I used to just go hard at everything that I did, play a lot of sports, and I wanted to be like the best soccer player, the best tennis player. So I've always really been really competitive. And that translates into my career today. I really want to make sure that I'm putting out content that I'm proud of, content that will make people happy and come back for another video and so on and so forth.
And I think that's a really good way of looking at it as well. And this is kind of a big aim of this series, is to kind of show people that as an influencer, I think people have this stereotype that they're just someone who takes photos or makes videos and makes a huge amount of money, right? But you're kind of saying you've been making videos for that period of time, and still putting in hard work today.
Exactly, yeah, and for the longer, like time frame here. So for about 8 years out of the 10, I had a job. I had a 9 to 5 or two jobs, and I did this on the side. So it was a lot of work. But I could see the light at the end of the tunnel, and I kept going and going and going, and that's really what did it for me. The biggest thing that I see people failing with when it comes to being an influencer or a YouTuber or whatever you want to call it is you just give up too soon, because the results aren't going to be there right away. It's just not how it works. You know what I mean? Like you may get lucky once in a while, but that's not my experience. I know that the results will come if you have a good outlook on it, and if you keep working hard, if you're consistent, if you're collaborating with other YouTubers, if you have a good little niche that you're trying to hit. I think those are all the variables that you have to work on to make sure that you're moving forward and just growing. And when it clicked for me, then I started growing a little bit faster.
Was there ever a time that you felt like just giving up and kind of you wasn't getting?
Thousands of times.
No, it's good to hear, right? Because I'm the same. It's like, oh man, I just
yeah, of course. Yeah, so many times. There was one time I made a huge switch on my channel, right? The channel that I have today, if you go back far enough, I have videos in Portuguese.
Hoje acabou de chegar. E quando eu comprar mais coisas, eu não sei, talvez eu mostre pra vocês se vocês gostarem desse vídeo.
And I switched from Portuguese to English. And man, my viewers hated it. Like they were like, you traitor, you can't believe you're doing videos in English. But to me, it's like, I just wasn't gonna grow. I had to make a choice. And I made the hard, difficult choice of losing a bunch of subscribers and getting a ton of hate, but looking at a brighter future, long ahead. It took like a good 1.5 years for me to start gaining subscribers again, because I was actually losing subscribers. So every day I posted a video, I would lose 300 subscribers. And that was just like tearing my heart apart, like spend 6-7 hours editing a video, and then I post it, and then I just get ripped apart. And that played with my head a lot, but I kept going. But I really wanted to quit a bunch of times.
What do you think you would have done if you'd have quit? Like, do you know?
I probably would have been a Google still, or probably moved into like a startup in the digital marketing space. But yeah.
And I think that's amazing to hear. It's like you say, it's not giving up. It's like every post is one maybe step closer to where you want to be. And it kind of brings me on to my next question. And I speak to Aaron about this quite a bit, and I spoke to the other guys about it. Do you still have that now? Like, you're at a level now, but do you still look at your numbers, compare them to old numbers, compare them to other people?
Yeah, I mean, I compare myself to other people. I have the competitive nature in general, so I'm gonna look at how people are doing, what people are doing, how I can be better. But I never really think of quitting anymore. What I think about doing is changing my business more and more, so diversifying, obviously like starting my own businesses, as well as doing YouTube, and then like investing into Instagram and TikTok and all these other social medias, and investing into stocks. It's just doing things that are completely different than just being an influencer and just working on social media.
Yeah, so how are you finding that? Obviously you've launched the hair products, other businesses as well. How are you finding that transition as well?
It's good. It's a lot of work. It's like you said, a lot of people think that being an influencer is so easy, but I'm posting like 4 videos a week. I'm posting a bunch of pictures a week. I'm doing TikToks almost daily. It's a lot of work. There's a whole team behind it. Have an editor, videographer, photographer, lawyer, agent, agent's assistant. There's a lot of people who are helping me. I have my own assistant who are helping me do what I do. So it is a lot of work, and I feel a lot of responsibility taking care of these people, making sure that they're getting paid, that they're, especially right now, when we're in a pandemic, and I want to make sure that I still have my team around me. So having to take time off of this, which is so big, to do other things is risky, because then you start posting less, or you don't, maybe like the quality of your videos will drop because you're so worried about something else. So I'm trying to do everything and keep the quality as high as possible while, trying to do all of these different businesses. It took me 2 years to get Forte off the ground. Now I'm working on another project that should launch within a month or so. And I've been working on it for almost a year, so there's a lot of little things that I'm doing off camera that are really tough, but I don't want anything to affect what I'm doing on camera. That's for sure.
So in terms of balancing your time, how are you finding that work-life balance as well with all of those businesses too?
Honestly, you can be an influencer and have a great work-life balance. I just don't. I don't. I work way more than anything that I do. That's my social life. I just like to work. I actually enjoy it. It's what I do best, and I just that's pretty much all I do. Especially right now, staying home. I work from home, so I'm like, all right, I'm home. I have to shoot this many videos. I have to do this. I have to do that, and that's what I've been doing. So I've been really focused on work. Usually, back last year, for example, I was dating a girl in London, so I just used to travel a lot, and that was incredible because it just took my mind off work a lot, and it was great. But now we can't even we can't travel at all. So I'm dating someone new. Everything is going really well, and we want to travel, but we can't. So we've been home, and I help her shoot her content. She helps me shoot my content. So even in the relationship, there's a little bit of that career, that work thing going on, which is great because I love it. I actually really enjoy it. So there's not a lot of social life happening at the moment.
Do you think that's just like maybe a next stage in your life, or do you think that's just naturally happened?
Yeah, I mean, probably. I'm always like, maybe I'll tone it down a little bit, scale it down, but I just don't, because as soon as, let's say, all right, instead of posting this many videos, I'm going to bring it down to like half the amount of videos, and then I see that my numbers start going down, and I'm like, wait, no, never mind. I need to post more. I need to do this. So I'm just so competitive, not only with other people, but with myself. If I see that my numbers aren't, quite where they should be, then I need to really step it up, and I don't sleep. So I just like to make sure that I'm at the top of my game.
So on that point as well, and I can totally relate to that, I'm very kind of competitive, workaholic, almost obsessive in terms of what I'm doing, balancing multiple projects because you can't just focus on one. Do you ever find yourself beating yourself up? Like, do you ever find yourself being your own worst critic as well sometimes?
Yeah, and it's crippling sometimes because you shoot a video and then you're like, ugh, I wish the angle was a little bit different, or the lighting was a little bit different, or my hair wasn't looking good, and then you're like, I'm gonna have to shoot this again. When really you could have just posted the video, nobody would have noticed, and it would have been fine. So sometimes I have to let go of that, of being a perfectionist and just putting it out there, because 99% of the people are going to enjoy it, and it's okay. So I had to step back, even when I had to hire an editor because I just didn't have time to edit my videos anymore. I was so skeptical. I'm like, man, this guy's gonna have full control of my videos. Is it okay? And I was super picky at first, but I think with training my editor, everything worked out really well. It was like really seamless. The transition was great. So sometimes being a perfectionist, it goes against you, especially on social media, because you're so scared of what people are gonna say because you're putting yourself out there. And that's really hard actually, to put yourself out there and be like, oh, I don't really like this photo, I'm gonna post it to 1 million people. That's tough, but sometimes you just gotta let go and do it.
And does that still impact you as well if you do get negative comments, or you do a video and the reaction isn't very positive? Does that still impact you?
I mean, not really. I think if there's always going to be a certain percentage of negative comments, no matter what.
100%.
It can be in my mind, a perfect video. I'm like, this video is so sick. You post it, there's always negative comments. It doesn't matter what you do, who you are, you know. So it's always expected. If the majority of the comments are negative, and that doesn't really happen to me, but if that were to happen, then I'd be like, okay, I need to take a step back and kind of like shift things around. But thankfully, like, I have a really good positive community, so it's been good.
Amazing. And I think just in terms of if people see you on social media, and this is a kind of a real aim of this podcast, this series, is when people see others on social media, it's that highlight reel a lot of the time, right? And we're kind of having a terrible day, and I'm scrolling through and I'm seeing everyone looking happy on social media. So, you know, is what you're putting out reality, or do you have days where obviously you're struggling? Is there days where you're, you know?
Yeah, I mean, it is reality. I think obviously if I'm not feeling good, if I'm either sick or just mentally down, you know, I'm probably not going to post. I would rather not post, because it's so easy to see that you're not feeling good when you're shooting a YouTube video. You need to be like have that positive mindset, because that's what I'm trying to instill into that person's mind who's watching. I'm not trying to pass any negativity to anyone, you know. So when I'm not feeling good, I'm very good at being like, you know what, today's not the day. I'll shoot tomorrow or whatever, or I'll go for a drive or go for a run, get in a better mindset, and then I can do it. But yeah, of course, I think, you know, everyone has bad days. A lot of people look at me and they're like, dude, you lived a perfect life. And I'm working 90% of the time. You know, there's a lot going on, and sometimes I fail, a lot of times. And obviously, you know, people have to understand that it's not just all roses. You know, there's a lot of bad things that happen too.
Cool. And how do you kind of deal with those bad days and those bad moments as well?
I'm actually, you know, generally I'm a pretty positive person. I'm not like a bubbly person who likes to talk. I'm quiet. I'm pretty calm. You know, I have to like really amp myself up for when I shoot content, because otherwise it just sounds like I'm like sitting there, you know, like super loud. So I literally amp myself up before I shoot a video, because I'm typically very just quiet. So, but I do have a positive outlook as a whole in life. Like, I'm like, you know what, like, life is good. You know, like, I have my family, I love my family. Like, I have a beautiful girlfriend, she's amazing. You know, like, I just bought my dream car. Like, there's like all these things, from being healthy to having an amazing family, to having, you know, materialistic things, which sometimes are like trophies of accomplishments that I just went through. So I feel really good. I really try to celebrate small wins. I start with small wins and I only go up from there, but I celebrate as much as possible.
Yeah, I think that's so crucial, and like perspective and gratitude as well. It's like, as you're saying, it's tapping into that gratefulness every day as well.
Yeah, because, you know, a lot of times you get it, even me, like, I wake up in a bad mood and I'm like, why am I in a bad mood? Like, life is good, you know, like, I woke up today, I'm healthy, I'm feeling good, like, you know, I'm in this place, like, I love my house, everything is good, like, my mom's healthy. Why am I in a bad mood? And it's just like, you just have to literally let it go, and as soon as you let it go, then you're good. You're back to it again.
I love that as well, because I think a lot of people, when they're in that mindset, they almost beat themselves up of, why am I feeling this way? Like, and it's that constant beating, you know, you're beating yourself up.
Yeah.
Whereas you've kind of said, I feel this way, but I'm going to accept it. I'm going to sort of, you know, try and have a good day and, you know, move on.
Exactly. Yeah. It's really all about understanding how things affect you. You know, like, somebody can say something to you and you can take it in a completely negative way and be like, like, that sucks, man. I wish that person didn't say that. Or it can be like, all right, whatever, he said that. Like, let's move forward. Let's move on. You know, it doesn't really matter. And that goes for negative comments. That goes for talking to someone on the street who you don't know. It does, you know, like, I think it's really not letting things affect you in a negative way. That's so important. And actually being an influencer really helped me with that, because you do get feedback like 24/7.
And I think, you know, with that as well, it's that constant. I think a lot of people look for that approval too. So a lot of people are kind of, you know, putting out content, hoping that sort of positive affirmation comes back. and at the same time reacting negatively when negative affirmations are coming back. So, I had to learn as well when I started to share content, especially, the more kind of vulnerable content, like talking about, losing my dad and mental health and things like that. It was really kind of putting yourself out there, and a lot of the positive feedback, in a way at the beginning, if I'm completely honest, it was like I was seeking that. Like I was wanting people to say, this is great, this has helped me to continue doing it. But now I've kind of let that go and just thought, I'm putting it out there. If people like it, they like it. If they don't, they don't.
Yeah, I think as long as you're putting something that you know is good in your heart, that you're like, okay, I posted this, this is how I feel. I think this will help people because I felt this way before, and if somebody told me this back then, it would have made me feel better. You don't need 100,000 likes. You don't need 50,000 comments. Like, it's just you're gonna hit that 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 people, and then it's gonna slowly grow. And but even if you just hit those 5 people and they feel better because of it, sometimes they won't even comment. But you've helped them. So it's really about yourself.
So true. And do you find that still with your content? Are you kind of, obviously, have you got a bigger sort of purpose? When I speak to Aaron, he talks about, trying to help people with confidence. I see on Aaron's comments, a lot of them are like, you're the dad that I've never had. And, for him, like, even though it's the same kind of content, I'm sure for him, it's that overall meaning of, if I keep putting out content, I'm helping more people. Is that something similar to you as well? Not that you're going to be their dad. You're a lot younger than Aaron, right?
I'm the older brother, man. That's what I get.
Of course, yeah.
But yeah, I do. And it's funny because sometimes I'm like, am I really about to shoot another video about 7 ways your grooming game is not on point, like 7 grooming fails? Am I really about to shoot another one? For me, creatively, not the most interesting video because I've already shot it, So I'm like, okay, how can I make this different? How can I make this better for me? And only for me, because people who watch my videos, they don't care. I'm still teaching them. Even if I repeat a tip or a suggestion to them, I'm just like instilling that idea into their minds. Like I'm putting that idea into their minds, and repetition is actually good for that. But sometimes as a creative, I'm like, I kind of want to do something different, like completely different. And I've been actually really feeling it now because I can't really shoot outside. So I'm like, man, I really just want to do like a crazy lookbook with drones and fast cars and motorcycles and girls and crazy outfits. And I'm like, all right, well, back to 7 things you shouldn't wear today, because that's all I can shoot right now. But then you see the comments, and the comments are so positive. Everyone's like, oh man, this really helped me. And there's overall comments where like, you've helped my life overall, which is amazing. There's very like specific comments like, oh, I used to wear this, but now I wear this because of you, which is more specific. And then there's like I got a girlfriend because of you, which is like awesome. Or like, I've lost weight because of you. And then you're like, man, that's why I do it. Okay, now I get it. Okay, let's keep going.
It's amazing. It's so true. And I think people neglect that impact that people like you have. A lot of people, especially the older people, are like, but what do they do? And they neglect the impact that you guys are having on people just by the content that you're sharing.
It's so funny when I'm like walking, when I go to like a public place and there's somebody who recognizes me, and I literally see, before they come up to me, I see it. And I'm like, that's probably one of my subscribers. The hair looks good. He's well dressed. I'm like, kind of looks like something that I would wear. And then they come up to me. It's like, literally, I don't fail. I'm always like, and then they come up and say something. So it's visible. Like you can see that the person, like they look better. They're like trying to, break out of their shells. And that to me, like, is just so cool. It's just so cool to see.
Does that feel surreal sometimes still? Like when people come up?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, because like I'm walking around and I'm not really thinking, oh, somebody gonna recognize me. But then they come up, you're like, oh, yeah, I've completely forgot that I do this. That I have like all these followers. Yeah, I forget. I'm just out like shopping or doing something different, and then they come up and you're like, oh yeah, wow, I forget that I'm actually talking to real people from all over the world. And so I haven't been to a country in the past couple of years that I haven't been recognized, from like Thailand to England, Canada, like everywhere, Greece, Italy, there's always at least one person will say something, which is like mind-blowing.
It was when we first met. I remember we went to the YouTube space in London.
Yeah.
I brought my little boy Freddie, and I think prior to that, Antonio messaged me and said, Alex Costa's in London, you guys should hook up. I remember walking in and saying to Freddie, like, here's the YouTube space, and I looked over and I was like, I swear that's Alex Costa. I think you need to get a coffee.
Yep.
And so I recognized you then, right? So I come up
Yep.
and said hello, and we got chatting, and that kind of leads on to the next question that I was going to ask, and it was a little bit that we discussed it a little bit on that day, and I remember when you did this, and obviously I'm very vocal about mental health and
Yep.
the importance of talking about it. And you did a video, right, where you asked your subscribers to donate to, was it suicide prevention charity?
Yeah.
And we spoke a little bit about that, but why did you choose that charity in particular?
Yeah. Well, that was my 1 million. When I was about to hit 1 million, I'm like, what am I gonna do? Jump out of a plane, do something crazy?
Yeah.
And then I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna do an apartment tour and just be super real and honest. It was my place before this one, and in the beginning of the video, I just talked about how suicide hits. It affects a lot of people. Whether you're the person who's thinking about it, or somebody around you thought about it, talked about it, or has actually gone and committed suicide. And that was actually the case with me. So a close family member, my aunt, many years ago, I was probably, I think this was 2005 or something. So it's been a while. She killed herself, and is my mom's best friend and sister. And we used to spend every weekend at her place. And she actually came to the US to visit us, and then went back to Brazil in the following week that happened. So it was it was my, she was like a second mom to me. And I just couldn't believe, when my mom told me, I was like, you're joking. Like, there's no way. She was here last week. So you just don't know what's going on in that person's head. And me as a child, like a teenager, I had no clue. I thought she was happy. She was talking about possibly moving here with us. But come to find out, there were things happening that I had no idea. My mom didn't really know. So, that affected me in a way that I just couldn't really comprehend back then, and it continued to affect me throughout my life. And she was very special to me. So I thought, if I went through this, then I'm sure there's a lot of people, like yourself, who have gone through something like this or worse, and I just want to make sure that I'm there to help, because it's something that has really impacted the way that I look at life, and how it can be taken away from you with one quick decision, when you're at your lowest. Mm-hmm. So I thought that was good. I wish we got more donations, not gonna lie. The guys disappointed me a little bit, but I can understand. Everyone wants to buy new shoes, not everyone wants to donate for suicide prevention. I get it. But I think it's something important, something that we should talk about.
But I definitely think as well, donations aside, the impact that could have had by even now, you talking about it is huge. So I thank you for that as well. And I think, as you said, it's one of those, it just, you never would imagine that it would happen to that person in particular. It's the same with my dad. It was very much, this will never affect me. Like, this will never impact me. If you would have told me, that it was going to happen, you would just kind of wipe it off. So no, I appreciate you kind of sharing that as well. And how old again was you when that happened?
I think I must have been 14 or 15, probably 15.
And did that change, like you said, it impacted you, but did that change kind of your outlook then as well? Do you think maybe you being grateful now and that natural gratitude that you have, do you think some of that came from that experience?
I think so, and it's hard to know what my life would have been if that hasn't happened. It's hard to see what kind of person I would have become, but I think understanding that that's not the way to go, understanding that. So basically what happened is she poisoned herself, and halfway through she didn't want to anymore. So she told the EMTs she didn't want to die. And that was a lesson to me. It's like, you can be at your lowest and you can take action, but you're gonna regret it, because you're at your lowest, and there's so many better things to come. And that to me was really what it was like. I get it. If I'm not feeling good, it's okay. Like, I'll feel better tomorrow. It'll all be better. So I think that changed my outlook for sure in the way that I act every day.
Yeah, and it's so true. And I talk a lot about it, about how people that end their own lives, they don't want to die. They just cannot deal with the pain that they're going through in that moment. And I talk a lot about having that hope. When someone's in that position, it's that very kind of closed perspective of life. Everything's kind of tunnel vision. And you have that one decision, as you said, like, do I continue fighting another day, another minute, or do I end it? And if we can give those people that little 1%, that little ounce of hope during that moment, like, as you said, with, in your situation, it gives them that more time to carry on fighting. And it's kind of like, as I say, you being vocal about it, me talking about it, other people talking about it. For me, it's about, let's give people that hope, because that's what they need in that moment in particular.
Exactly. And it could be something so small, it could be something so small as being like, hey guys, hope you're all having a great day today. Or like, hope you're safe and healthy during these weird times in quarantine and lockdown. Or, like, do this to your shirt and you're gonna look better. And then the person does it and he's like, wow, I look better. Like, it's so small, it just comes out of my mouth and I'm like, okay, hopefully I'll help someone. And then I help all these people and I hear back from them later and I'm like, wow, it actually wasn't that small. Like, I actually had some type of positive impact on these people's lives. And that to me makes it all matter. It's what keeps me going.
Yeah, and I think it's a really good point as well that you kind of say naturally you're always trying to keep on top on your mental health, because you've seen how it can impact people. Same with me now, like, I wake up, I'm always trying to keep on top of it. So I think that's a lesson for other people as well, how you don't have to wait until you're at rock bottom before you start getting some help. It's like, do what you can now to manage your mental health, to try and feel better and be the best person that you can be as well. And I'm sure your channel, definitely reflects that as well.
Yeah, exactly. A lot of people, and sometimes you let little things have such a huge negative impact on your life. It's like one little thing, and then you're like, oh man, like, I suck. And then everything, if you're wearing like the negative glasses, then everything in front of you is going to be negative. You need to take those off, take those lenses off, and just like have a positive outlook on things. And that changes everything, because the cup is either half full or half empty, and you just have to make sure that you're looking at it as a half full cup. You know what I mean? And that will completely change the way that you carry yourself.
Now, in terms of a question that I ask a lot of people in this series is when you started to get the results in terms of money, in terms of the numbers, did that dramatically improve your happiness? Like, if you look back now, do you kind of look back on the old Alex that was kind of, as you said, working those couple of jobs? Do you look back on that and say, I'm so more happy now with what I've got? Or would you say it's just more of a gradual happiness?
I think it's more gradual. I'm happy that I am successful because I'm such a workaholic. So for me, obviously it's very important that I am successful. Like, I've always been like, this is what I want, right? But in terms of like the monetary, my finances or the car or the house, like, it's okay. Like, it hasn't really changed my life that much, to be honest with you. I think, there's other things that have made me happier, like being closer to, recently got closer to my brother because he moved to LA. So like little things like that, where as I grow as a person, those things are making me happier and happier. But money, fame, whatever, that doesn't really make me that much happier, no. And you would think it would, a lot of people do, but it's not true. You can be filthy rich during quarantine, and you're just a filthy rich, bored guy at home crying yourself to sleep. So it doesn't. Yeah. It's a nicer bed, but you know what I mean. It doesn't change much.
Exactly, and I think maybe it's because of how you've earned that money, right? Like, you've put in the work. It's not been that you, as you said, you didn't put one video out, it went viral, and now all of a sudden you've got a huge amount of money in
Yeah.
the bank. It's been,
And
you've worked hard, and this is a result of hard work, right?
exactly. So that makes me happy. It makes me proud of what I've accomplished. You know, so that aspect, I'm like, yes, I did it. But it could have been anything. I could have been the best chef in the world, you know, and I'm like, okay, awesome. Like I did it. It's an accomplishment. That's the feeling. Less so of like, okay, I have money. That's great in times like these. Very helpful because I can be like, okay, I don't have to like stress over what's going on next week with my, you know, my mortgage or car payment. Thankfully, I don't do this. Like I like to save, I like to be responsible, you know. But yeah, I completely agree with you that money does not equal happiness. Okay, that's not how it works. Look at all of these celebrities, artists who are filthy rich, and they go on to commit suicide.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so it's not the same thing.
Yeah, and I suppose it's a lot of people talk about enjoying the process, you know, and loving the journey in a way, you know, and trying to be happy now, and you know, getting results from that. So I guess that comes back to that, doesn't it? I suppose people try to attain money, they try to attain fame or whatever it is, because that they think that equals happiness. But when they get there, it doesn't tick that box, and they're still in the same place.
It's not. It doesn't go like this. Oh man, now I made it. Now I'm happy. That's not how it works. You need to be happy every single day, no matter what. And yeah, of course you're gonna have bad days, but like I said, you need to let it go and just change your outlook. Because if you're not happy, like you said, during the process, you know, once you have let's say you've been shooting videos for a year, right, and nothing goes over 100 views, then you get that one video with 5 million views, you're gonna be like, yeah, this is awesome, but then what? You know, like it doesn't make you a happy person right away. You need to post more videos. You need to keep going. So it's a long process, and that goes for everything. You know, I'm using the video analogy because that's what I do. But apply this to your own career, to your family, to what you have going on in your life, and it's the same. It's the same.
So wrapping up, because I know you're obviously cautious of time. If people are watching this and they want to become a YouTuber, they want to maybe do what you do, in terms of sort of strategy or something practical, what would you advise to them?
Man, there's no magic pill, but there is a method, you know, to the madness. I think being consistent is extremely important. Taking advantage of the platforms that are at the moment giving you more return on your investment, like TikTok, for example. You can go viral way easier on TikTok, and you're not going to see any money on TikTok yet because it's such a new platform, but you can start growing a following, you know, and that following is going to spill over to the other platforms. So being consistent, taking advantage of those platforms, high quality work, you know, I'm not saying expensive camera, I'm just saying the story behind what you're trying to say, your delivery, you know, getting better and better with each video, making sure that you're providing people with some type of value. Like if you come to my channel, I want you to learn something, otherwise you're not going to subscribe. So I need to teach them something, you know, I need to make sure that they come to my channel like, okay, I got a lot out of this free 6-7 minute video. I'll come back for more. So providing value and finding something that you actually enjoy, because like I said, you know, you can hit that 5 million view video, but if it doesn't make you happy, it doesn't make you happy. So if you need to be talking about something that you actually enjoy, because you're going to be talking about it for a while if that becomes your career. So make sure that you enjoy it.
Amazing. And I've seen you on TikTok actually, and it's a platform I've been using, and especially for mental health, it seems like a very good platform to get in there early. But like you said, I think that last point of talking about something that you're passionate about, you know, sharing content on something that you're passionate about, having that meaning of why you're doing it is so important, because otherwise you wouldn't do it. You know, if you're not getting the results quick enough, you're going to go and try something different.
Exactly. Yeah. And a lot of people are like, but I don't know what I like. I don't know what I want to do. And that's normal. Everyone goes through it. My channel changed completely over the past 10 years. I think you just have to keep going and changing things up, adjusting here and there. It's okay to get inspired by other people and do a similar video, you know, from mine. Like take my video, do something similar. I don't really care, as long as you're putting your own spin and try to learn from it. At some point, it's gonna click. And you'll be like, this is what I really like. This is what I'm passionate about. Let's talk about it. Maybe I'm religious, and I talk about faith a little bit, and somebody says something about it, and now I feel good about that comment, so maybe I'll do more of those. Or maybe I'm talking about shoes, and people love my sneaker collection, so I'm going to talk more about that because that's what I really understand, and make a channel just about sneakers. There's so many of those who are going off on YouTube, so adjust slightly the formula there until you get it, and it'll work out. Just be consistent.
I like that because, again, I think people they don't start because they feel like it has to be perfect. They have to choose what they're going to talk about for the rest of their career right up front. So it's like, as you said, learning as you go along.
Dude, that is like the worst thing you can do, is be like, I'm not going to post it or I'm not going to shoot because I don't know exactly what to do. I don't have the best camera. It's not going to be perfect. That is the worst thing you can do. Like, just shoot it, just post it, see what happens, and then get better,
Like you said, you started making gaming videos in Portuguese, was it?
Yeah, you know what I mean? It was completely different.
Yeah.
And people wanted to see them. I just it wasn't making me happy. So I adjusted.
Amazing. And then final question, and this is obviously a little bit more leaning onto the mental health side, but if someone's watching this and they are kind of maybe struggling, they're in that kind of dark sort of place, what advice would you give them from your perspective?
Man, I don't know if I'm qualified for this.
You don't have to worry about that, but just what would you say?
I can talk out of my experience and what has worked for me. I think the art of letting go is something that I've really been trying to just nail down, because sometimes you're mad and you go through your whole day mad, and then you get to the end of the day and you're like, wait, I don't even remember why I was mad to begin with, but my whole day was so negative because of it. So if you're going through a tough time, just try to let it go. Try to remove those negative thoughts from your mind for a little while. Try to focus on the positive and do something creative, something that you love doing. Go outside for a walk, call your parents, call your best friend, and talk to people. Like, let them know how you're feeling, because that's so important. Sometimes you feel like you got to hold it in, and then it just blows up. All that pressure builds up, and that's not good. So talk to people, let them know, be honest with yourself. If you're feeling down, be like, you know what, I'm feeling down. Like, I need to change this. I need to talk to someone. Don't just hold it in, because that's the worst thing that you can do.
Man, it's great advice. See, you don't have to worry about not being qualified. It's great advice. And I think it comes back to that, as you said, perspective. Perspective. Put it into perspective. Sometimes I'm the same. Like, you're like, why am I worried about that? Like, it's not as bad as my mind is telling me that it is.
Exactly. I don't know. Like, I just remember myself like getting mad at stupid little things. Like, oh, I lost my favorite pair of sunglasses, and then I would just get mad the whole day. It's like, why? Like, okay, it sucks. That's annoying, but it's fine, whatever. Like, I'm still here, I'm good, I'm healthy. It doesn't matter.
And then finally, what's in the pipeline for Alex? Like, what's next?
Launching a bunch of new Forte products, which are awesome. I actually have one right here. Super stoked about it. So this is the new argan oil. It's awesome, super stoked.
Are you shipping to the UK?
Yeah, we're gonna be shipping to the UK.
Cool.
So that's one thing. We have 3 other new products being launched at the same time. So right now I've only been advertising the argan oil, but we actually have, because we don't have the packaging for the other ones right now, but we have 3 other products being launched. So a lot going on. And then I'm working on another little project that I will announce pretty soon, but something that has been taking a lot of my time, and that should be coming out in the next month or so.
Cool. Amazing. I appreciate your time. I appreciate you being honest.
Thanks,
I appreciate everything you do.
Dude, and I just want to say, like, I'm so happy and so like proud of you for doing this, and just for talking to people, and just keep on going. Make sure that you're trying to reach as many people as possible. I think what you're doing is awesome. People need to hear it, and a lot of people think that sometimes they don't want to hear it because it can seem a little bit negative. All mental health, they're like, I don't really want to talk about it. Don't really want to hear about it. I'm okay. I'm good. But you have to try to reach as many people as possible, because not everyone's okay. Not everyone's good. So I really, really appreciate you doing that. I think it's really cool.
Oh, thank you, man. I appreciate that. And if this series does well, then you'll have to be credited, because, as I said, you came up with the idea.
I'll take 20%.
So I was going to say 15, right? Negotiate 15. But no, thanks for your time, man, and hopefully the rest of lockdown is okay for you out in LA.
Thank you, man. I hope you guys stay safe as well. Enjoy it.
Cool.
I really appreciate you reaching out and us talking. And stay safe, stay healthy.
Good stuff, man. Chat soon.
All right, see ya.